Prince William has revealed he learned so much on his and Kate Middleton's tour of the Caribbean earlier this year to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The Duke of Cambridge, 40, said he not only discovered more about the different issues that matter most to the people of the region, but also how the past weighs heavily on the present. William was speaking as he and the Duchess of Cambridge attended the unveiling of a national monument at London's Waterloo Station to celebrate the dreams and courage of the Windrush generation who came to help Britain rebuild after the Second World War. The father of three's 8-day trip to the Caribbean with his wife Kate, 40, in March, was branded tone-deaf by critics who said there were moments smacking of colonialism. In his speech to those who had gathered for the unveiling, which included Windrush passengers and high-profile members of the black community, Williams said, "We know without question, that the Windrush generation have made our culture richer, our services stronger, and our fellow countrymen safer. My family have been proud to celebrate this for decades, whether that be through support from my father on Windrush Day, or more recently during my grandmother's Platinum Jubilee, as people from all communities and backgrounds came together to acknowledge all that has changed over the past 70 years and look to the future. This is something that resonated with Catherine and me after our visit to the Caribbean earlier this year. Our trip was an opportunity to reflect, and we learned so much. Not just about the different issues that matter most to the people of the region, but also how the past weighs heavily on the present. William also spoke of the Windrush scandal, which began to surface in 2017 after it emerged that hundreds of Commonwealth citizens, many of whom were from the Windrush generation, had been wrongly detained, deported and denied legal rights. He said, "Sadly, that is also the case for members of the Windrush generation who were victims of racism when they arrived here, and discrimination remains an all too familiar experience for black men and women in Britain in 2022. Only a matter of years ago, tens of thousands of that generation were profoundly wronged by the Windrush scandal. That rightly reverberates throughout the Caribbean community here in the UK as well as many in the Caribbean nations. Therefore, alongside celebrating the diverse fabric of our families, our communities and our society as a whole, something the Windrush generation has contributed so much to, it is also important to acknowledge the ways in which the future they sought and deserved has yet to come to pass. Diversity is what makes us strong, and it is what reflects the modern, outward-looking values that are so important to our country." Next year marks 75 years since the arrival of HMT Empire Windrush at Tilbury Docks in 1948, bringing 500 passengers from the Caribbean. The government, which has provided £1 million in funding for the monument, said it symbolises the courage, commitment and resilience of the thousands of men, women and children who travelled to the UK to start new lives from 1948 to 1971. It also acknowledges the Windrush generation's outstanding contribution to British society and is intended to be a permanent place of reflection, it added. The monument is a 12ft statue, of a man, woman and child in their Sunday best standing on top of suitcases, that was unveiled on Wednesday to mark Windrush Day. The Queen also sent her congratulations on what she described as an historic occasion. In a personal message, she wrote, "The unveiling at Waterloo Station on Windrush Day serves as a fitting thank you to the Windrush pioneers and their descendants, on recognition of the profound contribution they have made to the United Kingdom over the decades. It is my hope that the memorial will serve to inspire present and future generations, and I send you my warmest good wishes on this historic occasion." Waterloo Station was chosen because thousands of people who arrived from the Caribbean passed through the station on their way to start their new lives across the country, the government said. The unveiling is one of dozens of events and activities across England to celebrate Windrush Day 2022. It was created by Jamaican artist Basil Watson, who said his monument pays tribute to the dreams and aspirations, courage and dignity, skills and talents of the Windrush generation who arrived with a hope of contributing to a society that they expected would welcome them in return. He said, "My parents, along with a great many others, took the long arduous voyage from the Caribbean with very little or nothing other than their aspirations, their courage and a promise of opportunity for advancement. This monument tells that story of hope, determination, a strong belief in selves and a vision for the future." Following their tour of the Caribbean earlier this spring, William and Kate vowed to rip up the rule book and pursue the Cambridge Way after their difficult visit to Belize, Jamaica and the Bahamas. When they returned from the tour, it was said the couple hardened their view that the monarchy must be agile to survive and thrive after their week-long tour was hit with protests. They were also understood to be ready to abandon the Queen and Prince Charles' never complain, never explain mantra in future. Politicians hijacked their presence ahead of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee to further their own campaigns to remove the Queen as head of state amid moments branded tone-deaf and smacking of colonialism. Prince William held crisis talks with senior aides on his week-long tour around the Caribbean, telling advisors he had to add his own voice and confront issues of slavery reparations and anti-monarchist sentiment. Hours before their flight, he released a statement addressing Republican sentiment in the 3 Caribbean countries, acknowledging it had brought into even sharper focus questions about the past and the future. Meanwhile, insiders told The Sun at the time that the couple were looking to modernize how they work, adding, "It's a breath of fresh air." They were bruised by attacks that their Caribbean trip harked back to the colonial age. In future they will rip up the rule book and do things the Cambridge way. They're trying to work out what that will look like. It is not a criticism of how it was done in the past. But times are changing. Critics highlighted photographs of the couple greeting the public through a wire fence in Kingston, which they said struck a note of white privilege. They also cited footage of the couple riding in the Queen's open-top Land Rover that she used in Jamaica in the 1960s and 1990s. One source made the point that William had privately expressed concern about how the Land Rover moment would be received several weeks before the tour. But he went along with it so as not to offend the Jamaica Defence Force, which owns the vehicle and is proud of its history.